Tonight was UFC Fight Night 81, and honestly, I was going to say that this was probably one of the most boringest fights that I ever saw. It was TJ Dillashaw going up against Dominick Cruz. Dominick Cruz, the returning guy to the bantamweight division. This is a guy that had a whole lot of heartfelt, basically, his fighting career since 2011. It's just, he made fun of it himself, doing press for this show, basically coming down to the octagon, on crutches, only to jump into a cartwheel into the octagon. We've seen this guy have multiple ACL injuries. We saw him pull out of a fight in 2014 from a torn groin. He was supposed to come back again in 2014, and just ACL after ACL. It's a hard uphill road for Dominick Cruz, but he did what a lot of people thought that he was not going to do. I mean, there were so many articles written about Dillashaw versus Dominick Cruz that people thought that this fight ultimately was never going to happen. Dominick Cruz is a different style of fighter. I've heard of his name before, but never seen him before. He's a lot like Floyd Mayweather is. This guy moves around very fast in the ring, got fast hands, got fast kicks, but a lot of his fighting style is defense. A lot like Demetrius Johnson, where it's really slick, it's really good, but when it comes down to it, it's ultimately pretty boring because there's not a lot of action. Dominick Cruz took a lot of pain from TJ Dillashaw kicks to his legs, but he was moving. He landed shots throughout the fight. Yeah, I thought this was ultimately a good fight. It wasn't great, but the last round of action was really, really good as TJ Dillashaw lined it up and was starting to land those shots on Dominick Cruz. You can see him really, really hobbling in the post-match, sort of waiting for everything to come down to. They went all 5 rounds. The 5th round was great. If the other 4 rounds would have been a lot like the 5th round, I'm sure I would have been able to say this was a good fight. But TJ Dillashaw, of course, the guy with a lot of sort of bad press about him leaving Team Alpha Male. Now he's fighting for like elevation, something in like in Denver. He moved from Sacramento to Denver. He left Uriah Faber's camp of Team Alpha Male. Sort of never really gave him a good reason for why he was leaving, but it was just mainly about money and sponsorships, and he wants to be the guy at his own class, and people are thinking that it's going to set up, the fight between Uriah Faber and TJ Dillashaw, and people were thinking that if Faber won his fight and then we saw Dillashaw win his fight, that's basically the point where we would get that fight down the road. This fight was a good one. I think they're going to do the decision right now, but I don't think there's anything in the world that makes me think that Dillashaw lost this fight. It was boring. He got his shots in. Dominick Cruz definitely got his shots in as well. But at the end, that hobbling knee basically tells you everything that you need to know, that Dillashaw is going to keep that championship, and there's no way in the world that it's going to go any other way. It was a pretty boring fight, but the way that he moved around a lot like Mayweather and danced. They both look very confident, but I don't think there's any way in the world they're going to take away that championship from TJ Dillashaw. And they did! Holy shit! Wow. Dominick Cruz makes his return. Dillashaw can't believe it. I'm sure when they have a rematch, I'm sure it won't be on free TV on Fox Sports 1. I guarantee you. But wow. What a story. What his career has been since 2011 with all of the injuries. Now he's sitting on top. He won the championship. I didn't see it. I don't know what you guys saw that I didn't see, but I don't know how Cruz won this belt.